on TikTok this morning and I was scrolling, and for some reason there seems to be like a lot of credit collection type videos out now. I guess it's probably due to the economy and folks being heavily impacted by said economy. Now let me preface this by saying that I like to hold myself accountable. There's like been videos out of like interest rates rising on credit cards, more so store cards, credit and collections. Anything that I talk about will be from experience. Right now, it's a difficult time for most people. The cost of living is really high, and just the cost of products and goods and services is extremely expensive. And I know people right now are probably panicking. They're in credit situations that they probably never would have dreamed they'd be in. But as a person who's had good credit, bad credit, good credit again, you can always rebound. And I'm just going to tell you how, so that you can come out of that panic and, you know, free yourself mentally. What I want to say is paying people their money. Crazy. I know there's a lot of videos out here and they'll tell you how to send letters to have the derogatory credit removed from your credit report, but it doesn't remove it from the creditor's file. And I've seen where people have had that done, and a couple years, a couple months, a couple years later, it pops back up on their credit report. You don't want that. I think that by paying your bills, whether it's a collection, it shows discipline. It encourages better credit and money management. What I will say when it comes to credit and collection, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios that I've gone through. Every creditor has a hardship program. They all have a hardship programs. So when you fall into a hardship, you call them up, and you don't have to be late to call them. They will offer you a program. Now, some of them will tell you they possibly will restrict the card throughout the program, or they may close the card indefinitely, okay, once you enter into the hardship program. The payments are, usually the interest rate is cut to 0. I know Capital One gives you like a year, or no, 6 months. Capital One gives you like 6 to 9 months at 0%. And then throughout that time, they restrict the card. And once it's over, your interest starts back accruing at its normal interest rate that you signed the contract for. If you know you're going to be able to catch that card up with the 0% interest, and you know you can catch it up, or not only that, but you can significantly pay it down, I would say it's the best route for you to go. If you can't, what I deem to be favorable alternative is for it to go into collections. Wow. And then the interest will stop. Once it goes to like Portfolio or Midland or either of those companies. Now, you don't want it to go to Midland. You don't ignore Midland or Portfolio. Please don't ignore them, okay? That's where you want to strike your deals. Once it hits the collection agency, that's where you want to play your deals. Honestly, with Portfolio or Midland, you don't really have to talk to them. When they first receive your account, you may receive a few phone calls and, of course, letters. Once you go onto their website, because I don't like to talk to people, you got a website, I'm going to your website. You can set up all the payment arrangements you want. They actually give you different payment arrangement options on their websites. You could set it up for whatever you can afford. I think the lowest is like $25. I think this was like $25. And you go from there. And once you set up your payment arrangements, you don't hear from them. Once they're getting their money, they're getting that whatever it is you offer it to pay, you don't hear from them. You also could end up striking a deal with them and settling for less than the amount owed. Because most of the time, once it gets to collections, majority of that amount, you didn't even spend it. It's usually late fees and interest. And once you pay them, they take it off your credit report. Now, you will still have the charge off from the original creditor. However, you don't have a judgment, and nobody's garnishing your wages. Nobody's eating up your paycheck, and nobody's dragging you in court. I went to court years ago for Synchrony Bank, which was an Amazon card. They got paid that day. I paid them because you were not putting a judgment on my credit report, and you were not garnishing my wages. So they got paid that day. Right at the courthouse. Yes, they did. And for lower than the amount that they were haggling about. Everybody walked away happy. And the courthouse has never seen me since for any credit. Because along the way, when you make mistakes, you learn. You learn what you can do, what you can't do, what's going to benefit you, and so forth. But the reality is that a lot of us are not rich. So you may end up in credit situations that you did not intend or anticipate. And you start to panic. And who wants to have bad credit? Nobody wants bad credit. Nobody. Especially if you've ever had good credit, you don't want bad credit. Just hearing somebody tell you no, you can't have that. It's really damaging. It's hurtful. Okay? But I'm just gonna be the first to tell you, you have options. And yes, your score is gonna go down. Now, there's 3 creditors we don't play games with. That's Amex, Discover, and I want to say, Navy Federal. So you don't want to play games with Navy Federal, especially if that's your bank. Don't play games with people. Work out something, but give them their money. What's that saying? Give me my money. Yes, give them their money. You could tell it to the credit bureau and still receive a suing summons in the mail. To where they're going to take you to court, file a judgment, and still, garnish your wages and place a judgment against you. There's so many things that can happen with that when you could just eliminate all that hassle, all that mental anguish, and just do what I just said. It gets to the collection agency. They go on the collection agency, work it all out. They have affordable plans. Work it out. But trying to scam them into believing that you didn't spend that money when you know you spent that money is wild behavior to me. I think that's the worst thing I could get out of it. It's like, wait, you know you spent the money. You know you spent the money. You charged the card. Why are we acting like you didn't charge the card? You know you did it. And you know you did it. And that's another part of your mental anguish, because you know you did it. And now you all skittish brain because you don't know if they're going to bust out the receipts that show you did it. Trust me, it gets greater later. Just pay the money off. Don't charge. Let me just say this. Don't charge too much to begin with. You can always rebound from a couple $1,000s. It may take you a little bit of time, but it's doable. But when you start getting into like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into credit card debt, that's beyond my experience. Okay, we don't jump in that side of the pool. I don't think I've ever wanted to jump in that side of the pool, because that's just too much anxiety for me. That's a lot of pressure to spend all that money on credit. No, I don't want nothing to do with that. Nothing. So, and like I said, your score may tank, but you can pay it off and rebound. Everything's possible. So definitely, if you are having credit issues or you're afraid, just look into that. Work it out with the creditors. If you know you can't, work it out with them while there's interest accruing and it's just too much, then you can let it go to the collection agency, and then once it gets there, it'll stop accruing interest. And your payments will really matter. And they'll really go to lower your balance. And collection agencies, they'll work with you. They will. I know they call your house and act crazy, but they will work with you. I hope it helps somebody. Alright, I'm gonna talk to y'all later. I'll call y'all back.